One of the questions we get asked the very most is, do you have a therapist you can recommend for me? And while we wish that we knew of therapists in every single place, in every single part of the country, we don't. So what do we tell them instead, Mel?
We say check out BetterHelp because it's online, it's at a reasonable price, and you can be matched with a therapist within 24 hours. I've also used them and they have been great. And if you don't like your therapist, guess what? Click, and get a new one.
Absolutely. It's so hard when you have an in-person therapist, if you're not clicking with them, to cut them off and get a new one. So that's not an issue with BetterHelp. So we always tell people to try BetterHelp. And if you use our promo code, which is
trybetterhelp.com/WWDN,
you get 10% off your first month.
Go ahead and try it out. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN. And you know what? I'm a big fan of doing therapy where you don't have to wear pants, but nobody knows about it.
Are you wearing pants right now, Mel?
I'll see you later. Bye. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN.
Welcome to the Widow We Do Now podcast, where Mel and Anita
discuss ridiculous topics such as
death, dying,
and destruction,
chocolate, cheese,
and that's about it,
etc. The end. Speaking about death and dying, today is Father's Day. We're actually recording on Father's Day, and my family just got back from a little Father's Day outing where Jason loved Mountain Dew. It's so gross, but he loved it. And so my kids were discussing whether we should go to the cemetery and pour some Mountain Dew on his grave. And then the conversation turned into, well, it won't get in his mouth anyway. And so then it turned into, well, maybe we should dig him up.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm just like, I hope nobody's listening. And then I was like, I think that's actually illegal. And my 15-year-old comes up with this great idea. And he goes, it's probably not illegal if you're digging yourself up, though. And I'm like, pause. But you are dead. Anyway.
Yeah, not going to work.
He said he didn't think it had happened yet, but who says it couldn't happen? So I think he was going like zombie ideas. But anyway, we didn't pour any on the grave. We just drank it because we decided he would rather us drink it and appreciate it than just water the grass with it.
Well, Jason's headstone is really cool looking, and I'm picturing the Mountain Dew kind of falling off of it because it's in the shape of a wave, right?
You could do like a swoop of it. It could be like a water slide. Yeah. Actually, we didn't go to his grave at all, though. We went to, there's this place like 45 minutes away that somebody once planted poppies, and the poppies have spread. And so they're like all over this campground. And I love poppies. And so we just like to drive up there and hang out and have lunch, like a little picnic with the poppies. And we didn't even fight too terribly much this time. It was only like 25% fighting and 75% good.
I think that sounds pretty solid.
It's very good.
Yeah. Maybe you didn't mean for this to happen or not, but kind of a pun. Some people call their dad or their grandpa Poppy, and you went to a poppy field.
I hadn't even thought of that, but poppies are also like the flower of remembrance. So it's like it's very layered. I like it even more. Except for that there are always people, like families, taking pictures there. And I'm sometimes just like, well, you guys go away. We're having our moment here, and we're talking about digging up our dead dad. So
are you having any feelings?
I have had feelings, yes. Like, it's sometimes hard to figure out where the feelings are originating. But like for the last few days, I've been super irritable and grumpy. And I'm like, oh, it's because it's going to be Father's Day. And everybody, all the advertisements and all of the, my daughter got the funniest text message from AT&T. It was like, stay in touch with your dad by buying a new phone.
She's like, oh, really? This is an extra new feature then.
Exactly. She's like, Mom, like, you got to get it. We got to get it. But,
oh my gosh. That's pretty great.
Yeah. What about you?
I feel like I said this last year. Maybe I did. I don't really connect with it right now. And I don't know if I've processed, first of all, my dad's death. and he died suddenly a couple of years ago. And Scott was not a dad, and we were only married so short of a time that everything just kind of is so skiwampus in my head and in a big blob of the last decade that I don't have any feelings right now. I think I had more feelings about it right after the death, maybe for several years, because even if I ended up not having children, the opportunity was taken away
Hmm.
and it wasn't in my control. And I think a part that was even harder than that for me was people assuming that I was going to or that that would happen, and who knows, you know.
Right.
So it was hard for me, like assumptions wise. But I mean, I think that is also common for people who maybe are with somebody and they don't have kids yet, or they are single and they don't have kids. So it's kind of like a sticky subject, but nothing kind of bothers me about it anymore. So,
I have a question for you though.
okay.
Do you feel like you are a little bit disconnected from the calendar in general? Like, I sort of feel like you live on a different planet and you're not really connected to the calendar.
Me, Mel Shore.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that is accurate.
Okay. I'm like, I hope that's not offensive because I'm not saying it to be like
No,
offensive, but it's just like some people are very like, this is what day and time and all this kind of stuff. And you just are kind of like, I don't know, maybe you don't belong to the like Roman calendar system. Maybe you're a Mayan or
I think I'm a mime, actually.
a Mayan would be the worst podcast host, Mel.
Hey guys, welcome to Mime We Do Now. Here's our first discussion. Did you enjoy it? Well, anyway, back to what you just asked. No, I'm not offended at all. And I think it's true because I think it mostly comes from being a musician.
Right.
Because whenever I am working, people are not, and they are on holidays or something. And it's kind of something that goes with the territory, whether you have your own family or a different family or not, you still are, if you're a working musician, you're away from them on big holidays, oftentimes, depending on what your gig is. So yeah, it's been, I feel like I'm very disconnected from the calendar and I never remember what's happening or what's coming up. And I mean, big ones like Christmas, okay, but I know that because I have a lot of Christmas gigs
Right.
or, but, and also when I teach a lot of students and they go to different school districts and I just have stopped looking at the calendar because some are like, my spring break's in March in the middle and mine's in April at the end. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I actually kind of keep on purpose my schedule the exact same every week of the year. And then like the week before something is going to be happening, then well, we all discuss like students and I, and it's like, okay, this is what's happening next week. So we're going to be gone. It's Christmas. Or, you know, if I can look ahead and I know that it's, you know, a big one like that, then I'm aware. But yeah,
Anything
I
about it.
think that's because of a musician.
Do you also wonder though if it's like because you're not neurotypical too? You ever thought about that? Like,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know
Maybe.
either.
What do you think? Because you're an observer of that, and I'm just in my
Well, I
brain.
only have my own, and I don't feel like I'm because I'm not a super organized person. You know, like have you ever looked at people's calendars on their phones and it looks like a big rainbow blob schblob, like there's like 50 things on each day. Like I am not organized like that. So I don't know.
Mine is like that, but it's overwhelming to me. And then I have some
Mm.
of your stuff somehow in my
I know,
our shared calendar.
I'm so sorry.
It's
She's
okay.
like, wait, are we going to the orthodontist? I'm like, sorry, I put it in our calendar and I didn't mean to. And she's like, Anita, remember that you have a toe appointment for your child on whatever day.
I think the things that tipped me off in my life until post college or whatever were being in school. And so the schedule was just the same for everyone and everyone around me. And then I was on the road right after I got my master's and everything just was like, oh, there's no such thing as a weekend. There's no such
Right.
thing as this or that. So yeah, I am very disconnected from it. And then actually when I wasn't traveling as much and when I was off from work, when I would have those big holidays, they actually became harder for me. And then when Scott died, double that. And I think it was hard for me to be the person that was expected to have been in a certain place in life but wasn't, and then have to go to family events. Not that my family was giving me a problem about it, but it's, when you get a certain age and above, you're like,
I should be a
I,
millionaire by
yeah, don't,
now.
or it's like my conversations. Yeah, that I wish. Or
Still.
even some people say to me, they're like, it's so weird that you and Anita are kind of the same age because she has kids and you don't. And so I don't really think of you as the age to have kids, but obviously you are. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
I'm
could have
43.
like
I'm
you
old.
could you could have a high school graduate. You could be a grandma. I know people who are grandmas at 43.
Hey guys, just checking in and want to say if you are enjoying this podcast,
And you want to see it keep going. Maybe it's helped you through your widowhood journey and you think that it might help others on their widowhood journey. You can support that cause by joining our Patreon.
some of the things that you get as a Patreon beneficiary are ad free episodes, so you don't have to hear ads like this.
You also get exclusive content, and at a certain level, you might also get an exclusive t-shirt you can only get that place.
That is true. It's pretty cool. There are 4 different tiers available, so check it out. It's patreon.com/WWDN.
And as an extra bonus, very often you get your names read by one of my kids, and they will do a terrible job with the pronunciation. And that's like a bonus, I
I
think.
think it's kind of the best. I would much rather hear somebody butcher my name than say it correctly.
A child butcher it than an adult do it correctly. Yep. So go to patreon.com/WWDN to keep our podcast going and support the widowed cause.
Yes! Thanks, guys! Back to our regularly scheduled program. Did you know that if I had stayed married to my first husband, then
Mhm.
last Friday I would have been married 22
90
years.
years.
Same
Wow.
thing, yeah. Yeah. So I think that's part of it. I just am weird, right? I'm just kind of, I don't know. I just
I
have
don't
a
know.
different
What's
life.
normal though,
I don't
like,
know.
but I guess in our area, which is very family focused and family centric, like you are the odd man out, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And
So
it's hard for me. I noticed there was a high school group of friends, and actually a lot of them became couples in high school or after high school, and it was great. And even though it was like couple, 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 Mel, I didn't feel like anything was weird
I
because they were my
hate that.
friends. But it was awesome for me at the time. Well, then they invited one other couple that I didn't know, and that's when everything just for me stopped because then the conversations turned to the typical, "Who's your pediatrician?" And I was like, I don't fit in here. So yeah, in certain
Were you
settings,
like, I can't go to the pediatrician anymore? They won't let me. I
I'm like,
tried.
I still kind of look like I'm 12, but maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. So those kinds of things are hard just as somebody who doesn't have kids, and now I'm the age that I am, and I guess I'm accustomed to that in a way. It's been, my whole adult life I've not had kids, but then as I get older and then my friends have kids and then the kids graduate and they're getting married, it's just this weird mush in my brain.
Does it make you feel like, oh, life is passing me by?
No, it makes me feel like, okay, well, their kids are going to all be gone by here. So they'll probably want to start hanging out again
Oh,
in 10
yeah.
years and then they'll be widows and then I'll be there for them. So yeah, yeah.
Did you, before your dad died, was Father's Day like a big deal?
It was the kind of thing where, oh, it's Father's Day, it's Sunday, we're going to have stroganoff because he likes it.
Yeah. And that
That
was
was it.
like the extent of it.
Mhm.
I got my dad and my father-in-law the best gift this year. Do you want to hear what it is?
Yeah. Is it
It's
a
so
slingshot?
no. I bought them both a gallon of distilled water for their CPAPs.
Oh my gosh.
It's so hard. They don't need anything. They're old. They buy all the stuff they want on their own. So I was in the grocery store and I was like, this is what every old man needs. They need the distilled water.
I hope that they enjoy the
Perhaps.
gift.
I'm sure they'll just laugh.
So, Anita, I was listening to a podcast this week. It was actually Monica Lewinsky
Okay.
and Chelsea Handler. And for those of you who don't know the Monica Lewinsky stuff that happened in the 90s, you can Google it. But she is talking about redefining her life, Her podcast is called Reclaiming.
Her identity.
I guess just people reclaiming things that maybe were taken away by circumstance or changed by circumstance, whatever that is. So,
Which seems really like we would fit in that too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this was interesting as I was listening to the Chelsea Handler episode because neither of them have kids.
Hmm.
And they talked about it, and Monica said that she had always wanted to have kids. And when the whole scandal happened, she was an intern in the White House and of that age. And then it kind of destroyed her life
Ruined
for
her
a long
life.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got blamed for it somehow, some way.
Yeah. And no matter where she went, she didn't know if people were like undercover journalists who were trying to expose things, so a lot of trauma of her just existing. And I think she hasn't had a partner, or at least a long-term partner. So she was talking about how both she and Chelsea are in their 50s now. And so the time has passed for having kids. And just their discussion, I think, was so interesting. As somebody I can't have kids because, first of all, I had a hysterectomy, which, if you're considering one, it's awesome. Get it? But
I once had a patient, though, that told me she'd had a hysterectomy, God willing. So, Mel, I mean, I don't think we can count it completely out. God willing. God won'ting. That's what you're thinking right now.
it was the best thing for my life. It has helped me be much pain-free since then. And also, Scott died. So I'm in the same kind of a boat. And when their discussion was happening, it was interesting because, Anita, I talked to you a little bit about this before we hit record, and you said, doesn't Chelsea Handler like hate kids or something? And she actually started talking about how she wanted to be a really, really good adult figure in children's lives. And their discussion ended up being this kind of thing where it's like, hey, you still are a big, important part in kids' lives if you choose to be, whether that's if you date somebody that has kids or if you work with kids or, So I think it just was an important discussion to be heard because I don't think a lot of people talk about that with peers of their own age in public because a lot of them do have kids. Not that that's wrong. Neither is, it just is. They were kind of talking about how you have the opportunity to help many kids if you decide. And Chelsea Handler was talking about how she took a parenting class.
That's funny. I probably should do that.
I think one of her boyfriend's kids or something, or I don't know if it was a niece or nephew, there was somebody that was really struggling. And Chelsea had death in her family and when she was 9. And so that's, she's really kind of walked that road of dealing with hard things due to death. And so she can recognize it in other people. So she goes, I recognize the same thing in some kids. And so I wanted to,
reach out and
help them. So yeah,
well,
thought that was
so
interesting.
I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like Chelsea Handler, not that she hates kids, but that she's pretty like, I don't wish to have kids, and that people who put that on me need to stop putting that on me because there are people who want to have kids and there are people who don't want to have kids, and neither is like, I don't need to be shamed for that kind of a thing. So I always just assume she did it by choice, not out of circumstance or,
And she
whatever.
might, I think maybe she did. I mean, and I know her career was, to have a career like you've had or like she's had, that's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
I think it could be that, but she's like, just because I don't have them doesn't mean I don't love them. So she loves kids,
Yeah.
doesn't have them, chose not to have them. And then Monica Lewinsky had a whole life upheaval and wished that she could have them. So it's just an interesting discussion. So
It kind of mirrors the Father's Day discussion, though, too, and kind of Mother's Day, in that, you don't have to be a mother to help mother, for lack of a better, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be the mother to have like a mothering influence. And same with fathers. Like, I'm so appreciative of the father figures who aren't my kids' actual dads, but it's the same kind of a thing. Like, you don't have to have your own kids to also be a good influence. Like, just be like a nice human and make the world a better place too. And that helps
yeah.
all of us.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that depending on circumstance for people, these discussions can be really hard because if you're trying to have kids or you can't or your person is dead and you still want to have some, like, you don't want to listen to somebody saying, well, you can be somebody that's
Yeah.
helpful. But, so of course we recognize that and totally understand that that is a valid feeling as well. But for
Yeah.
those who maybe are thinking, oh, I can't make a difference in a kid's life because I'm not a parent. I've had a lot of really great experiences and really rewarding experiences by being able to help kids, a bunch more kids that I did not birth out of my body.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sending love to everybody because these days are hard. I mean, hard for the kids that lost
Yeah.
their dad, hard for the partner that lost the person,
Yeah.
or
Hard for
or the widowers who are
it's hard
alive.
for everybody, I feel like. It's very silly.
How are your kids doing? So they're doing okay today, do you
My
think?
8-year-old wrote a book last night. He's like, I'm gonna write a book and I should share it with you, Mel, because like I was bawling about it. He's like, what did he call it? The mustache, Mr. Mustache or something like that. And then he wrote
Oh,
this author's note that was so cute. And I'm like, you are 8. What is the deal? I will pull up his author's note. He like stapled it together backwards. It says, author's note to all the people who have had someone they loved that passed away. My dad died when I was 2 years old, and I made this book to help others who have experienced grief like me.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then it's called Mustache and Me. It's
Oh,
really cute. And he's like, I was feeling sad today, like a rain cloud just washed over me. And then he said, suddenly I think to myself, what could make me happy so fast? Of course, it's Mustache. Mustache tells jokes that make me laugh so hard I can't breathe. And then he's like drawn these little cute pictures. Mustache is very strong. Mustache is fun. Mustache is nice. He's sweeter than candy. The end. And then it's got this little
oh,
thing that says, I love you, Dad. And I'm like crying. And he's like, why are you crying? I'm like, this is the saddest thing I've ever read. And then he taped it to his wall. So
oh.
it's really cute. And also, he's like, I didn't even know it was Father's Day. I just wanted to write that book. I'm like, okay, great.
He's
So
8 going on 170. He's kind
yes,
of always been
been like
a
that.
little adult with lots of wisdom. That's, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Anita.
it's really cute. I'm like, hmm, okay, I love you. I don't know what to say about any of that. Just how is this?
Jeez.
How is this the life that we're living? I don't know. And then I asked my kids, I was like, what's the worst part about not having a dad? And they were like, well, not having a dad. Okay,
Duh.
duh. But then my 15-year-old was like, I'm kind of glad dad died. And I'm like,
What?
say more. And he goes, well, I'm really sad about it, but we've also had like lots of opportunities because of it. And we've learned a lot of skills. Like when my friend's sister died, I knew how to talk to him. And so it really helped me. And I'm like, it's right. It's true. And it's also sucks that they have like that insight and that he realizes that he has gained things by going through something so hard and still going through it. Like, I don't know.
That might be a good segue to what you
Mm,
wanted to ask people because
yeah,
I think it may have answered part of the question.
maybe. So I was just thinking one day, I belong to a lot of like Facebook widow groups. And I was kind of wondering, Mel, if you and I are obsolete. And let me explain what I mean by that. We are like almost 6 and almost 8 years out from Jason and Scott dying. And I kind of wonder if you lose your ability to really understand what people who are in that acute phase are going through. And if it would be better for them to have 2 new podcast hosts who were 6 months out, or where we were back then. There's a marked difference between the Facebook groups that are run by people kind of in our shoes and the ones who are more fresh. And I wonder what you think about that.
Anita, I hear we have a store.
Oh, we sure do. We've actually had it for quite a while. It's called the Snarky Grief Shop, and it's where you will find all of our best grief merch. That is, yes, a little snarky. For instance, it's where you will find the official widow card, that you can pull and use at your convenience.
You can put it in your wallet, and anytime you need to use it, pull it out, play the widow card.
Yeah, we have glow in the dark stickers. We have shirts that say, "Be nice, my husband is dead." We also have the ones that are not quite as jarring, so that you can wear them out in public and not feel weird. But sometimes you need that shirt.
I wear my "Be nice, my husband is dead" to bed because I'm a little scared to go in public with it. But you've worn it on airplanes before with your kids.
Yeah, every time we go to the airport, I wear that shirt because I'm just like, listen, I got to get all these kids through security. Just be nice to me. Thank you so much. And it's worked for the most part.
Some of the less snarky grief shirts are podcast shirts or Widow Wives Club. We also have Resilient AF, right, Anita? What else we got in there?
Yeah, which we're telling everybody who cares, like Mel's mom, that means American fork, because she can't know what it really means, guys.
Yeah.
Stickers and mugs and notebooks and just cool stuff that you can use to express your snarky grief. You'll find it by going to our website, shop.widowwedonow.com. There's a lot of W's in there, so just make sure that you've counted them and there's the right number.
We will link to that in the show notes, and it's also in our app, which you can get from the App Store. Can people get it from our regular website too?
Yes, if you go to widowwedonow.com, there's a link for the shop in there too.
Great. If you'd like to show your snark or have something a little more subtle, go ahead and check that out. Again, that's
shop.widowwedonow.com.
Well, remember when we first started recording and we said we know things are going to change because they will. And so this is kind of our audio journal where we can look back several years and also people can watch us and listen to us as we go through these ins and outs and changes and ups and downs and healing and everything. And so, I mean, we're still out there on those previous episodes. So I would say, no, we're not obsolete because the journey is there. But if people have listened to all of the episodes and now they're up to this one, then, and you're closer to your death coming out, I think it just depends on the listener because it depends on if they have recently lost somebody or if they are needing more resources that are close to that early time period. So I think it just depends. It's like, is every single person that listens a fresh griever? No. But are those the ones that are most likely to listen? I don't know. Maybe.
Probably. I feel like most people are in that fresh, at least semi-fresh. It sounds like we're talking about like lettuce or something, in that semi-fresh phase when they're looking to find other people, to feel normalized, to feel like they're not crazy and that they're going to make it, kind of a deal, or how to do it. I guess we do have some listeners who find us when they're, 5, 6, 7 years out, but I feel like probably most of them are in the earlier phase.
I don't think I would be looking for a widow podcast at 8 years out.
Right.
But also at the same time, I've been surrounded by a great community and worked through a lot of things because of what was before. You know who we could ask who listens every week? Joe. Hey, Joe, we know that you listen every week because you tell us. What do you think? Text us. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to open that up to everybody who listens and just be curious because we've done different surveys at different times and said, what do you want to, who do you want to hear from? And we've had some feedback that there is a desire to hear from people who are more fresh. But then you also kind of wonder, well, is that just the people who are responding? Is it because they're in kind of more distress and like reaching out to find other people? But I don't know. Is it good to hear from people who have walked through it and are now kind of through the really tough time and kind of living a normal-ish life and have felt happiness again and aren't, wondering how to make it through? Like, do you still ask those questions to yourself, or do you feel like life is fairly quote unquote stable and normal death wise.
I feel like I am able to speak with people who are widows and non-widows now, but before for a long time I'm like I'm only talking to widows, nobody gets me.
Hmm.
So I can actually be sort of quote normal in that way. But I come across widows all the time who have been 10 years out like in the wild, and I'm like I want to see what they're doing. Like they're kind of an inspiration to me.
Hmm.
And the thing is like this the death will have always happened. The widowhood will have always happened. And so for me it's actually kind of comforting to see people at different lengths out. So even though I'm not acutely grieving, I definitely have had to work through some like additional trauma that has come since the death. And I don't know, it's helpful for me to see and hear from people who are alive and going and they know what the hell is that I've been through, even if I'm already past some of those things, because you know what, you never know when you're going to be in it again. Like there was when remember a couple of years ago when the
No,
event happened to me and it's like my brain went
no.
back to the stuff. It
Yeah.
went back to not working and I'm like, what's wrong with me? And so it's I don't know. I just I always enjoy not enjoy, but I always think it's important no matter how long somebody's been widowed to know, oh, they survived past the 8 year, or they survived past the 20 year. Oh, look what they did with their lives. And they have repartnered, but they are also not ignoring or erasing that they were with somebody. Um, I think when I was in my fresh state, you could not tell me that it's okay, you're going to get remarried again. I would stab somebody in the eye.
Hmm.
And now
Yeah.
I know that people just say that, but I also was in the worst state of emotional existence that I could be in. And so but I don't think that always lasts. I think it's annoying, but I can manage it a little bit better. So I think there's always something
That's
for everyone.
you kind of clued like hit on something that I've wondered about because I'm the same. Like in the very beginning, I didn't really want people to quote unquote inspire me. You know, I didn't want people to tell me it was going to be okay. I wanted people to like roll around in the shit with me. You know what I'm saying? And just be like, yes, this sucks. Not like, oh, don't worry, there will be this in the future.
Yeah.
Just like, no, like all it is right now is right now. And I don't need to hear about somebody who's 10 years out. I don't want to hear from them. I only want to hear from people who are kind of experiencing the same thing as me. And that's changed, of course. And in that time period, I mean, we started the podcast when I was like 9 months out.
So
So,
fresh. I'm sorry I
yeah,
made you do that, but also I'm not sorry.
I'm not sorry about it either. I mean, it's been cool. Like you said, like you can go back and listen. Like there's Eddie, what is it? Evidence.
Yeah.
I don't know what word I just tried to make up, but back then I also felt like I knew it all in a strange way. Like my grief was all grief. Like
Yeah.
everybody was experiencing the grief would be the same as me. And now I'm positive that I don't know anything. You know, like that it's just so variable. So I also wonder if being in that fresh grief also makes you not as wise, maybe.
I
So
think for your circumstance and that period of time for what you were going with, you did know the most about your
because it was
grief.
all about yeah.
But
But
then
I just assumed it was
with
everybody would
everyone,
be.
yeah. But it's so. But what was interesting too is you and I had similar thoughts. And
Hmm.
we're like, what's going on? And so that probably reinforced like this is how it must be.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I think that's kind of fascinating to look back and like maybe as a researcher or something like, oh, how interesting that at this point from the hard thing, the person thinks this way. And then as time goes on, they're able to expand more and realize, oh, yeah, everybody is not the same as me, you know. It's kind of
Hmm.
like, I don't know. I know for me, that was one thing where I hoped maybe someday in the future, or maybe aliens or something, will listen to our whole string of podcasts and kind of assess what our trajectory of grief has been and like find points of commonality and, you know, be able to say, like, oh, this is what some widows act like or talk like or feel like at this point. And now fast forward. and then they said something totally different for where they are. So I think it's an interesting kind of research thing, but I don't know.
A AI might be able to take all of the widow books and the widow podcasts and be like, if you are at point A, you will be at point C in 3.7 months.
Which
Or
would be the thing that we hate. It's like, you just
yeah,
told me what to do. I hate you.
I hate
Keep it
you.
to yourself.
But there's no eye to stab them in
It's
because you're a robot.
true.
Do you find though, Mel, that it is harder to access um not necessarily your feelings, but kind of your feelings because you have to kind of dig into that a little bit to relate and try to hold space for somebody who's going through that. And I do think that as you get further out, it's almost a little bit more academic, almost feeling. Do you know what I'm saying? It's less visceral and it's more like, okay, yes, like I do remember this and this is how I, took care of that or whatever to be able to relate to people.
You can explain the theory of grief instead of
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
crying. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's harder for me to remember, and maybe my brain's also protecting me,
Hmm.
how long every single day was and how painful every single second was. I remember that it was painful and every second hurt.
Right.
I thought that a 24-hour cycle was actually 72 hours because time stretched out. So yeah, I can explain it like I guess just factually. Um and I'm glad I don't feel how I felt at the beginning. It
Right.
was too it, I don't I think I would have died.
Hmm.
I'm serious, like from the broken heart syndrome or from something, from stress or something. So, yeah, and as far as like talking to people where it's just happened, I feel like when I was in that situation, I remember a widow came over who also had just lost their husband too, but that person was really emotional, even more than I was at that point in the day, and kind of dumped on me their story. And so from early on, I knew I didn't have a high capacity for listening a long time, um, to somebody kind of just dumping stuff at me, but I did have an ability to like listen and like find commonalities. I'm still kind of like that. It's hard for me to hold that for like an hour. I couldn't listen to, you know.
Hmm. But you do all the time. Like we do interviews all the time.
No,
And
oh, as far as a widow story, like I could talk, all the time. I I like to connect with people who have dealt with things like that. I think it's if somebody just comes into my space and yells at me or something, which maybe that's not even relevant to what you're asking. Um, but yeah, I don't want to feel how I felt and I can't
no.
access it. And the people who are in that zone right now, even though they don't like to hear it, which I didn't like to hear it, it does move eventually, even though you're sure it's never going to leave. You're just going to be in pain all the time. Your pain shifts and it changes. So I don't know. That probably didn't answer what you said, did
I
it?
had, well, I don't think there is an answer, quite honestly, but I I've noticed in those like widow groups and things like that, the ones that are run by people who are further out there, they seem they seem more like how to say this?
Disconnected?
Not that's not the word, but more like more like I've scheduled my Instagram post. I've looked at the calendar. I know what is going to be happening in a widow's life right now. So this is the question I'm
Oh,
going to ask. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Just more kind of academic and less visceral, I guess, is the best thing. And you can kind of feel that when, it just feels like
Question
they,
though.
yeah,
Are they running a business?
some are, some aren't.
Okay, so there's an equal.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of them are like coaches or
Well, there you go.
stuff like that. But some of them are not. Some of them are just like support groups and I even think about Camp Widow and the people who are in charge of Camp Widow. I mean, for the most part, they're all pretty far out and it's more kind of it's I hate using these terms because it sounds negative and I don't really have a negative connotation towards it, but it's more of a machine. It's more of a structure, It's more like we know what we're going to do A, B, C, D, and E as it needs to be done. And I think there's some value in that. It's just I've just noticed that it's different than the people who are earlier
I
in
think it
grief.
has to be because for something to be a structure and to then be there as a stronghold to support other people who have everything taken out from under them, I think it's necessary. And also, uh, when dealing with lots of hard things like we've all dealt with or are dealing with, you have to parcel your time out.
Yeah, and your emotional like
Yeah.
bandwidth too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
they're good at it, but I like find myself having to really kind of work harder to kind of access that. But on the flip side, I just found out somebody who's not, I don't know them very well. They're just an acquaintance. I actually swim with them. One of the people I swim with, his wife just got diagnosed with cancer. And I just feel like one of the things I said to that person is like, if you need to talk about that, it's one of the skills I have is just listening to stuff like that, you know? And we started talking, and it went very quickly from the stuff that they would share with everybody to stuff that they probably would not share with everybody. And I was like, there's still something, like, I still have some skills, you know what I'm saying? Because it was the first part was the part that you share with the, we're going to fight hard and we're going to, what else can you do? And we're going to do the bucket list and all that kind of stuff. And then kind of quickly it turned into actually, this is really hard. Like it's hard on our marriage. It's, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah. And I say, you don't know how common that is. Like I hear that over and over and over again. And it's not just the surface level stuff. It's the deeper stuff. And that kind of got me thinking about it too. Like, and like what my son said, like, yes, it does give you skills, but I'm not sure it gives you like a silver bullet either.
no, I don't think anything does.
No. No. And I'm not sure. Sometimes I kind of wonder if I the want that either, because it's like as time moves forward, the widow part of you takes up less and less of your identity, like you were saying before. And it's like I've added a lot of things to my identity and I like most of those things. So I kind of don't want to make my widow identity bigger either, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think you can still be a valuable resource in the widow community if you choose to and still move forward with what's working for you.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
you don't. Is that why you posed the question?
I
What's
quit.
happening?
No, I just wonder, like sometimes you have to have really serious introspection to decide if what you're trying to accomplish, like you're actually accomplishing, or if you've moved past the place where you're able to provide what you think you're providing, I guess.
Yeah. Here's something that's interesting. It's like, where is the line? Because since I've been through all of this widow stuff and beyond, I'm changed forever in some ways. And some of the ways that I am now really having hard things with are my health and stress and anxiety, which I didn't have. I mean, I everybody has those things anyway, anxiety, but to a point where I'm like, I didn't used to be this way. Like this is something that I thought would even out over time and it's not. And I'm having to learn a whole new set of skills or look at how I can work and also make it so my body is healthy, you know? And remember our home's Rahi, the best stress index score thing ever.
Can you
That's what
please get that tattooed on your body someplace?
should I tattoo the whole thing just on my
Yes.
back? Like
Yes.
just the score sheet.
It would be so big.
So I think I never would have thought that going through what I have, it would affect me 8 years later in my health. And now I'm noticing stuff that I'm like, I I'm either going to succeed with managing this or it's going to be worse. And it's interesting. So that for me is kind of an offshoot that is tied to the widowhood experience that is important to share because I've never really heard a lot of people talk about the trauma and how that's affected their stress and then their life, their functional life
For a
that
long
far out
time.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of time they're like, oh, it happened 2 years ago. And like, yeah, I'm tired, but da, da, da. It's like, okay, well, how did that affect you long term? And so I think that sort of a thing for me, if I were listening, that would be valuable. Um, and also to know that you need more rest, maybe, or what do you do if you can't get more rest and you have to provide for your family and yourself?
Cocaine.
I mean,
Just kidding. I didn't say that.
I don't have a family and I have to provide, it's just even supporting me, one person is hard. So, yeah, I would love to know what people think. And it would be really
It's a
interesting.
little scary though too to ask like, hey,
Well, here's the thing, if they're listening,
yeah,
then they're listening, and if they're not, then we won't hear from him.
that's probably true.
But yeah, if you guys would be so kind as to either shoot us a message on Instagram and Facebook, or you can email us at widowwedonow@gmail.com. Let us know how far out you are from the death, and let us know if these episodes are helpful.
Yeah,
We
from
want to
people
know.
who are this far out, you know.
Yeah,
It kind of reminds me, Mel, the song has, and you're gonna find this is like such an interesting tie-in, but um I came to Wicked with you, and there's a song in Wicked that kind of talks about this, not directly, but and I probably will get the title of it wrong, but like changed for the better.
for good.
It's called For Good.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I just think about that too, like what my son was saying, like the associations we've had and the experience has changed us and it's been super hard, but hopefully like in the end it's for good. I don't know.
But guess what? Guess what's very poignant about that song? It's
Tell
a
me.
double meaning. So the line is, "Who can say that I've been changed for the better? I have been changed for good." That could mean that you have been changed for the better, good,
Right.
or just have
Permanently.
been changed permanently. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the really beautiful things about the lyrics of that song. And I think it's a good demonstration of duality, which sucks, but we have learned how to live with that. And it's hard. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
also, did you have fun at the
Yes.
show?
I went and I sat in the pit with Mel and um I learned many things. I learned that the names of the different settings on her keyboard were hilarious and they all meant something, but they were funny. I don't even know if I can share them. They're probably copyrighted or
You can
something.
share, you can say them.
One of them was called Glinda's suitcase, and I'm like, "What?"
Yep.
Or Smooth Roads.
Hmm. That
R
was
H
really
O D E S, not like ROADS.
like the instrument Fender Rhodes. Also, did you see the lion? I had a lion
Nope.
roar. Oh, and then there's one
Oh,
that says boom. That was my favorite too.
okay. I probably saw all of those. I also learned that the fog that's on the stage pours off directly into the pit. It's like the pit gathers all of the fog that fell off the stage. So that was fun and interesting. And also it's like the people who are down there, it is their job to be down there. It's very interesting. Like they just play their songs and then at the end they were like, "Okay, bye," you know.
Yeah,
There were
they're in
no
and
there
out.
were yeah, there were no high fives. They weren't like, "Great show, everybody. We
No,
did it." They were like, "See you tomorrow." And then they just all left.
if
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and they all play like seven instruments, not just one instrument. It's crazy.
Except for me, I
Well, but
play
you played the Smooth
300
Roads
instrument.
and the Glinda suitcase, but
Yeah. And the tuba
yes.
with my left hand.
Yes.
Well, some of the nights extra things fall into the pit. Like at the beginning of the show, there's all these streamers and they
Yeah,
just
there was
come. Did that come down
yeah,
when you?
some of the confetti stuff came down,
Oh
yeah, but
man,
not a ton.
they would come down right. There's a net above my head and they would come down in front of my face on my
Oh,
hand. So I'm like playing, "Ugh, ugh." And then with the fog, you can't see. So luckily, everybody survived. But yeah, there are musicians in the pit, everybody. So you might not know that because you can't see them and they're in and out. But if you ever go to a show that's a touring Broadway show put on by Broadway across America, walk up and look in the pit. They
yeah.
love it.
I
And
would I would think that would be like against the law. Like you're not supposed to look down there, but I think it's not against the law.
no, no, you should totally look there and say hi to people. Like we're so lonely. We're just like lame musicians that are like, I'm here in the
Yeah.
dark playing my instrument.
That
That'd
was
be good.
also Oh, go ahead.
It's good for us to get human interaction because obviously the musicians don't speak to each other.
Yeah. And then like when there would be pauses, but first of all, before I even get to that part, I cannot be a musician in the pit because I could not even turn the pages. Like there's a whole system to how the pages get turned and I was lost. No, that wouldn't have happened. But then anytime there's a pause and you guys know when the pauses are going to be, everybody like pulls out their crackers or their like mini Skittles or whatever. They check their messages on their phones or whatever.
I
It's
shared my
right.
Skittles with you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciated that.
Yep.
So,
There are several small breaks, and one I know which ones I can pull out my Skittles and
mhm.
which ones
Or like
I
water
can only take
bottles
a
and
drink and put it back down.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
I'm glad you
okay.
could come. I hope you had a nice time,
It was
and
very fun. And I am changed for the better. I am changed for good, I think,
forever.
for all of this. So let us know what you think, guys, and how your Father's Day went, how you're surviving, if it's a big deal, what you did to survive it, and anything else you want to tell
And
us.
let us know for Anita's peace of mind if you feel like she is
It's
obsolete
obsolete.
or I am obsolete. It's okay if you
Yeah,
tell me that, but
I don't know.
I don't know if
I
you're
don't know.
ever obsolete. During Wicked, just as right before we close, I met somebody with the company that is a widow that doesn't know that I know that they're a widow. And so I wasn't gonna just walk up and say, "Hey, la la la, let's talk about this." But I observed this person, and when I found out that they were in the widowhood club, I was like, that makes sense because the way that that person interacted and dealt with hard situations, I was there a lot of the time witnessing that, and I thought, okay, yeah, that person has some. I can tell there's extra empathy there for some reason, and then I found that out.
Mm.
So it was interesting to me that person is not in the widow world or talking about it, but that person is also really elevating people and doing the good work and kind of in a quiet way that's a very, very big and important way. So there you go. Well, do you still have a favorite cheese?
I'm just really, everything hurts my tummy. I'm just really struggling with all of the things. So, no.
Right now, I'm liking pre-cut cheddar slices with Ritz crackers or wheat
Yeah,
thins.
I want to eat cottage cheese, but it makes my tummy hurt. What are we
Anita,
gonna do? I know. I feel like you shouldn't admit that to our listeners. They might say I'm obsolete because of that.
no, I think a lot of them have the same problems. Just wait till I have that happen from my Holmes-Rahe score.
You're gonna
Well,
be so sad.
good luck. You have a busy week.
I have a busy week. I do. I'm going to a camp all week. Should be fun. I'm in charge. Wish me luck.
Oh boy.
And then my kids are hiking the tallest peak in Utah. Wish them luck because
Ooh.
it's gonna be. I'm so glad I'm not going because they're gonna whine a lot and I can't do that. So
I'm teaching some piano, so
good. And eating some mini Skittles. All right. Reach out to us. Let us know what you think, and we will talk to you again sometime, I hope.
hopefully next week.
Hopefully.
Unless Anita implodes at the camp she's at or my students eat me.
Okay. I'm Anita.
I'm Mel.
We're two young widows, maybe obsolete, trying to figure out widow.
We
Do.
now.
Oh, yeah. Check out our Patreon and give us a nice rating and review and give us tacos. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Mel,
Yeah,
we have a major announcement to make.
go for it.
Did you know that right now all plans on Mint Mobile are what?
$15 a month.
Okay, that's truly ridiculous. Do you know how much regular cell phones are?
Yep.
$1 bazillion a month. 15 is less than that.
New customers get 3 months of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month if you sign up right now. And guess what? I use it. I love it. I've used it all over the country, all over the world, and it's great. And if you're wondering about phones, they have those available as well, or you can just port your own number and your current phone over to Mint Mobile. They make it so easy.
So if people are interested in trying out Mint Mobile, how can they go about doing that?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. And you know, it's interesting. When my dad died, we actually put his phone on a Mint Mobile plan because it kept his number going, but it was $15 a month. So there you go. And there's different storage plans, but you might as well just get the unlimited because it's $15 a month.
Absolutely. All right, go try it today.
That's trymintmobile.com/WWDN.